Hello, viewers. Today's program is Political Affairs, and once again, it's all about what is happening in Ghana. Today, we are fortunate to have a big brother of ours who is a journalist. He's called Castro, and then he is in the northern part of Ghana. We understand there is a little uprising. I don't know how to put it. There's unsafetyness in a northern region, and he's on the ground, and we want him to give us a total description of what is happening in the northern part of Ghana. We understand there is some undisturbance going on between the Kusasis and then the Mampusis is all in the BAWKU region. Mr. Castro, how are you? My name is Morton, and you are hearing us live from Pennsylvania, United States of America. Mr. Castro?
Yes, right. So, good. It's evening here, so I would say good evening, Martin.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Yeah, we understand there is some confrontation going on in BAWKU, and BAWKU is in the northern part of Ghana. If you can give us a description of where BAWKU is in Ghana for the sake of some of us who are in the diaspora, Yeah.
Yes, so BAWKU is in the Upper East region. Northern Ghana is quite big, but when you arrive in Northern Ghana, we have the Upper East region, we have the Upper West, North, East, Savannah, we have the Northern region itself, and BAWKU is in the Upper East region, the western part of the Upper East region. I think from Binduri, we are getting to BAWKU. So from the Binduri district, you are riding into the BAWKU municipality, and then from BAWKU municipality, then you have the other areas such as Garu, Pusuga, Timpani. We have the other areas to the other side of further side of the BAWKU area where we have the Northeast region.
Okay.
So in essence, BAWKU is in the western part of the Upper East region of Ghana.
All right. So quickly, going straight to the main subject, we understand there's been some confrontation going on between the Mampusis and then their other brother since 1930. And it's like every decade the problem is solved, but it comes up again. What is really happening in BAWKU between the Kusasi and the Mampusis?
Yes, so the BAWKU conflict is an age-long conflict between two tribes. We have the Kusasis and the Mampusis over chieftaincy issues. It's actually a chieftaincy tribal conflict. And like you said, rightly said, it's been in existence. The conflict has been in existence for quite some time, over 5 decades. And the issue has to do with the fact that the two rival tribes are saying they have, the right to inskin a chief for BAWKU. BAWKU is a very busy town. It's a brisk business hub. In fact, in the whole of northern Ghana, if you take the Chima, which is in the middle belt, which seems to be doing well in terms of revenue generation from the local area, BAWKU is next, and sometimes goes to compete with big major cities within the southern sector of Ghana. And so it's actually a place everyone would like to have at home. And the BAWKU, the Mampusis and the Kusasis for a long time have been fighting about who has the right to install a chief. Now, the Kusasis say they have been in the town, or their ancestors handed over the town to them from time immemorial. And since since they started living there hasn't been the occasion where the Kusasis go to the Mampusis to get skinned as chiefs of BAWKU. Now, the Mampusis on the other side argue that BAWKU is part of them. BAWKU is part of the Mampusis. And before I go further, the Mampusis are predominantly in the Northeast region, the newly created Northeast region, which was previously part of the northern part of Ghana, or northern region of Ghana. The Mampusis are predominantly in that community, but they say that BAWKU, which is towards the Naleru to Bunkuru side of their region, is part, or originally, according to what they say, it's originally part of their area or part of their kingdom. Yeah. And so if there is anything going on in BAWKU, as far as chieftaincy is concerned, then they must be the rightful people or the right people to enskin a chief in the town. And so this has been the major contention between these two tribes, which has caused this conflict. I mean, almost coming, I think the recent one, which has been described by experts as the most serious and with a lot of deaths recorded, is this recent one we are seeing, the recent renewed conflict we are seeing, where almost 200, nearly 200 lives have been lost within 2020, the year 2020 to now.
So if we could hear you, who are the legitimate owners of the land? Is it the Mampusis or the Kusasis, if we should hear you?
Yes, so according to a court verdict, when the whole issue of the chieftaincy, the right to skin a chief came up, it was taken to the law court, and a verdict from the law court pronounced the Kusasis the rightful owners of BAWKU. They say the BAWKU have been in the town for a long time, and the law recognizes them as the real owners of BAWKU, and they have the right to skin a chief. But the Kusasis, the Mampusis also, have protested the ruling of the court, saying that the court did not, rule justly, and that they would not respect the ruling of the court. And that has been the main reason why all this fighting has been going on. And let me quickly tip in that I think last week, Wednesday, the overlord or the ruler of the Mampusi kingdom, installed a rival chief in the town, which seems to suggest that, like I said earlier on, they are not in agreement with the ruling of the court, and they would go whatever extent to show that they are not happy with whatever the outcome was, since the case was taken to the court, and wouldn't respect the constitution of Ghana.
So right now, if we should get you clear, the Mampusis are not going to accept the rule of law. Now, what will make them to think that they have the rights over that land? Do you have anything insight on that? Because if the legitimate owners are the Kusasis, and they are the ones that are supposed to install or to destool, now the Mampusis are doing it, and the law have spoken, and they say they are not going to listen to the law. What will make them to do such a thing like that?
The intentions haven't been very clear, and issues of that nature have been, taken away from the media. But we understand that the Mampusis have always pegged their argument against the fact, on the fact that they have been in existence for a long time. But the Kusasis also say they have been there for a long time, and even go further to say that they are the largest tribe in the northern part of Ghana when you take the Dagombes out. But in all of this, the Mampusis, I beg your pardon, still say that since BAWKU is part of from time immemorial, BAWKU has been part of their kingdom. The other chiefs who came, who ruled BAWKU in the past, all came from the Mampuku kingdom, and the Kusasis were only, in quotes, caretakers, people who had come looking for a place to stay, and the Mampuku kingdom, under their chiefs, back in those days, asked them to go and then settle at BAWKU. So for the Kusasis, they say they are the rightful owners of the BAWKU, but the Mampusis on the other side say they are just settlers who were given the chance to stay in BAWKU by their ancestors.
Oh, so if I should get you clear, the Mampusis are rather the rightful owners of the land, and the Kusasis are just settlers. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the Mampusis have been saying.
No, but
the Kusasis
but legitimately by law, who are the original owners of the land?
Legitimately by law, by the rulings of the rule of the court, it is stated that the Kusasis are the legitimate owners of BAWKU, and they have the right to any chieftain issue that has to do with BAWKU.
Oh my God. I understand both the Kusasis and the Mapusis have intermarried. They've intermarried. So none of this uprising is coming. What is happening to the children, the wives, and then the girl child? What is happening to them now?
Yeah, so almost everything about life, if it hasn't ground to a house, would most definitely ground to a house in the coming days, weeks, and months, because education, healthcare, any kind of social life is being impacted in BAWKU. Let's take education for instance. As much as 1,000 plus teachers have short transfers out of the BAWKU municipality, which has been the epicenter of the conflict. Nurses are also leaving, as well as local government workers. Recently, the only hospital the biggest hospital in the area, which is the Presbyterian Hospital, recently came out to say that if the conflict persists, management of the hospital, and in fact, the leadership or the hierarchy of the Presbyterian Hospital will have no Presbyterian Church, I beg your pardon, would have no option than to take the facility and that of its training school or training college, nurses and midwife training college, out of the area. Talking about intermarriages, the BAWKU MP, the BAWKU Member of Parliament, who's in the person of the Honorable Hassan Ayaruga, Mama Ayaruga, is a clear example of a product of intermarriages between the two tribes. He's reported to be a Kusasi from the father's side and a Mampushi from the mother's side. And since the conflict renewed, he's been a bit of a tight corner. Been flown to Accra, where he's been holding various meetings with Kushis in Accra and Kumasi and all other places within the southern sector. And after those meetings, he's expected to fly out of the country to meet Mapushis also in the diaspora. As to whether government is aware of this movement, it hasn't come out clear. But there have been calls. There have been numerous calls from, notable figures, including including MPs, for the right thing to be done, which is to arrest him because the government has, condemned his escapement. But that has yet to be done.
All right.
Also, some youth groups within BAWKU have also been calling for his arrest, but that is yet to be done as well.
All right. Can you tell me how old is he, or what is his level of education, or how far has he gone in education? The new store chief I'm talking of.
Yes, the newly installed rival chief, we understand, is a retired educationist in the person of Alhaji Seidu Abagre. He's believed to be above 60 years of age, since the retirement age in Ghana is 60 exactly. So since he's a retired educationist, we understand that, or we believe that he should be in his 60s, late 60s.
Okay, thank you so much for that important message. We'll just note that down. Above 60 educational is so surprising. So, see, people are trying to bring some political colors into the whole conflicts. Is that the situation on the ground? Carlos?
Yes, the issue of the politicization of the conflict has always been there. If you take recent happenings, the people of BAWKU, both sides have been pointing accusing fingers at a member of parliament, MPs. They've been pointing accusing fingers at, for instance, the vice president, saying he's behind most of the happenings in BAWKU. But those accusations haven't been established. And there have been instances whereby political figures come to BAWKU to, talk to people, talk to the factions, but get booed away because the people, the people on both sides of the conflict believe that they are behind all of that. For instance, last 2 weeks, when BAWKU with the Upper East Regional Minister, the person of Stephen Yakubu, before then, there had been some deaths recorded, and the residents accused the military of some pre-judicial killings. And so it was important that the regional minister went there to calm tension, because information was that the residents or the indigents were planning to hit the military for those alleged things. So the regional minister had to quickly rush in to speak to both factions, and indeed he did that. He spoke to the Kusase faction and same with the Mampusi faction. And in all of that, whenever the regional minister was speaking, or after he had spoken to them and was leaving, there was tension in the air, and you could clearly see that the people, there were instances where he was actually being booed because they believed that as a politician, he, in one way or the other, had a hand in what was happening. When indeed there hasn't been any evidence to substantiate those claims.
All right, thank you so much. It's so unfortunate that it's always that perceived idea there that some of these things we have politicians underground. Mostly it's been alleged. Well, now, let me ask you, of course, for the past 6 hours, has there been any gunshot? Have you ever had anything like a gun? Since the scheme Mr. Chief is now detained in Accra, we believe he's been detained in Accra, right? Or he's been invited to be in Accra. He's been detained or he's been invited to come to Accra.
The details of his movement are not clear.
All right.
But we understand that he rushed to Accra, speak to the community of Mampushi there. That is what we understand. Yes. And talking about whether there's been an attack since he was enskined last week, what the security agencies did was that ahead of his reported arrival in BAWKU after his enskinment, it was reported that he would be taken to BAWKU, and the Regional Security Council, taking into consideration the polarized nature of BAWKU and the deteriorating security there. A lot of security men were transported to BAWKU. Right. I can say that there were over 500 men of the Ghanaian military in BAWKU, including the police service, and men from the police service as well. And this was to curtail any, incidents of attacks if the rival chief was being transported in. Fortunately, if I can put it that way, the rival chief didn't come to BAWKU, and he rather was, traveled to the southern part of Ghana, where he reported to be engaging with some members of the Mampushi community there. Now, on Friday, the Friday that just passed, last week Friday, there was an incident of there was a shooting incident, I beg your pardon, in the outskirts of Pusiga. That is the latest shooting incident we've been briefed about, and let me take this one again. On Friday, there was a reported gun incident in the outskirts of Pusiga. Right. Pusiga is one of the communities in BAWKU. Pusiga is one of the communities where we have a lot of Kusasis there, and we have some pieces and B-movers living there. And so we understand that two men were progressed from BAWKU Township to Pusiga when they were attacked in the outskirts of Pusiga by two other men who were also riding motorbikes. Right. One of the victims died later on when he was rushed to the hospital. But the good news is that one of the attackers, was arrested, was apprehended, or overpowered by community members who later handed him over to the police, who are currently doing investigations. It is the latest gun attack since the enskinment of the rival chief.
Any information on the type of weapons they are using, whether they are military-grade weapons or maybe hunting? What kind of rifles are they using? Because gunshots, is it an AK-47 or what? Do you have any information on that?
Martin, it's really very worrying. As journalists, I have sources in both the military and police who sometimes I rely heavily on for information. And I can report that from what these security men tell me, what these elements within both or the two factions use, from what I understand, are even way, sophisticated, I beg your pardon, sophisticated than what our security services use in keeping the peace in BAWKU.
Yeah.
They tell me that they have way more sophisticated weapons in terms of guns, in terms of ammunition, or in terms of any sort of, ammunition. They have very much sophisticated ones than what the military and the police use. But as to the details of the kind of guns they use and the bullets or whatever they use, that hasn't been established. But what we know is that both sides have very sophisticated weapons that they use whenever they carry out attacks. Well, fortunately, there have been instances whereby the military is able to neutralize or bring a situation under control, and some of these weapons retrieved. But details of whatever is retrieved is usually not made known to the media.
All right, but last but not the least, quickly, have you cited any high-level governmental personalities there, the IGP or maybe some any high-level governmental personnel around there?
Yes, last year, that is 2022, there were a lot of high-powered visits to BAWKU. Firstly, the parliamentary committee on security visited the BAWKU area, where they engaged the two factions. Leadership of both factions.
Right.
They engaged the Mampusis and they engaged the Kusasis as well. In those visits, they all called for peace and the fact that the future of BAWKU, which was once a vibrant town, a big town with lots of business activities going on, the conflict was bringing it on its needs and the need for the people or both factions to begin to resolve the issue, their differences amicably, other than resorting to violence. Then, after that visit, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Dampare, also came with his boss, who is the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, and that of Dominic Mituwil, who is the Defense Minister. They led a highly powered delegation to BAWKU, and they also went the same way in terms of visiting both factions. They spoke to the Kusasis. They first visited the Kusasis, spoke to the leadership of that tribe, which is the chief there, and also went to the Mampusis, where they met with leadership there and spoke with them extensively on the need for them to lay down their weapons and begin to embrace peace. But aside from these two visits, there haven't been any other visits that I know of. But before they came, like I said earlier on, the Presbyterian Church, which operates the nurses and midwifery school there, the college there, and also operate the Presbyterian hospital, also called on the factions and spoke extensively on the need for them to, begin to allow peace into the area for the sake of the children who they are leaving behind. And that was when they threatened that if the conflict should continue, they will have no other option than take out their facilities, because the conflict was negatively impacting on their operations. We've had reports where the Presbyterian hospital has had to close briefly because the conflict was getting near to them. And we also had reports where the nurses and midwifery college had to move their third and final year students to BAWKU, where they rented facilities and kept them there so that they are able to learn, because the conflict was getting closer and they feared that it could threaten or it could cause damage to the lives, or it could cause lives of those students who are being held in the school in BAWKU.
Thank you so much, Mr. Castro.
Castro Senyala.
Senyala. The Senyala, is it an
Senyala?
Senyala?
Yes.
Is it an Ewe language? Is it an Ewe name, or is it not a name?
Actually, it's a Nankana name.
Okay.
It's a Nankana name. The Kasna Nankana, but modernization caught up with it and they took out. It's supposed to be Kashinyala.
Okay.
But they took out the A and has since been Senyala.
Okay, Senyala. Because in Ewe,
Yes.
if somebody says Senyala, it means that
Yes.
listen to my saints. Listen to my saints. Senyala.
Yes.
Listen to my saints.
Yes.
It's nice talking to
I
you.
relate because of my name. I relate so well. Yeah.
All right. It's
Because of my name, I relate so well with Elwood Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
my big brother, just take good care of yourself and then always take cover. Make sure somebody's watching your six. In a conflict situations like that, always make sure somebody's watching your six. We are so excited to have you being part of our team on the ground, giving us live commentary on what is happening in BAWKU. We will stay close so that as we'll call you back in the next week so that you brief us what is at stake on the ground. I just want to say thank you so much. And we, together with all the team here in Pennsylvania, BAWKU Media says that thank you. And we'll be getting back to you later this week.
Thank you so much. I'll plead that the next time I'm going to be called, I'm told ahead of time so that I get prepared and so that I can flow a bit. Better.
No worries.
Thank you too.
You just did fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Yo, bye.
Bye. So that was our brother Senyala Castro, who is in BAWKU right now, reporting what is happening. We'll be going next to our senior brother, Mr. Emmanuel Bombande, in the next few minutes. And then after that, I will also invite our brother Adip, who is also a security expert into this situation. But onto that, stay tuned to Political Affairs, Pennsylvania, live from BAWKU Media.